Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show, guys. Today, I am going to be talking to you guys about split backfields and how to value the starters and the backups. I'm going to be going over every relevant fantasy backfield where both the starter and the backup have fantasy relevance, and I am going to help you navigate through these players and figure out what their actual value is because there's been a lot of debate about it this offseason. And so I am going to dive right into my number one split backfield, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Okay, this is a backfield where the backup is more talented than the starter. This is something that you really don't ever see because it doesn't make sense. But the Dallas Cowboys are very stubborn. They refuse to adjust. That's why they never make deep runs. And by making Ezekiel Elliott the starter this year and not Tony Pollard, that's just another example of the Cowboys failing to adjust. But what this means is that Ezekiel Elliott will have very high touchdown upside. I mean, he's going to be the starting running back on the depth chart, meaning that not only is he going to get more carries than Tony Pollard, he's going to get more goal line scoring opportunities. He's going to get way more goal line scoring opportunities. He's going to have a whole lot more of the high value touches in the offense. Now, the problem with this is that's all he has going for him. Okay. He is completely touchdown dependent. If he does not have multiple touchdowns in a given week, his fantasy performance probably won't be very good because it's going to be a 60-40 split as far as carries. He's not going to be getting true workhorse rushing volume anymore. And he has very little chunk playability left. I mean, if you look at his chunk plays as his career's progressed, they become less and less every season. On top of that, he's extremely used up, and he's an injury waiting to happen because he's been more used than any other starting running back in the NFL at this point. He's probably about to break. If this does happen and Tony Pollard gets to head this backfield, watch out because Tony Pollard could be one of the best running backs in all of fantasy. He definitely has the upside to easily be a top 5 running back in fantasy if Ezekiel Elliott gets hurt in front of him. But even if Ezekiel Elliott does not get hurt, Tony Pollard already has value to start the season. He's going to catch some passes out of the backfield. He's going to get 40% of the carries in the backfield. His goal line usage won't be nearly as good as Zeke's, but it'll be up at least from what it was last year. So he's going to have good flex value right off the bat. And he's the ultimate handcuff in case the running back in front of him gets hurt, right up there with Alexander Madison. Tony Pollard is like the ultimate handcuff in all of fantasy football. So as far as who to take in the draft, I would fade Zeke and draft Tony Pollard because, look, as the season progresses and the games become more and more pivotal, there's always the total possibility that Tony Pollard ends up taking over this backfield and getting the majority of the work. So that, and considering the fact that, look, this dude averaged 5.5 yards carry this past year, that's just as efficient as Nick Chubb and Jonathan Taylor. So I love Tony Pollard this year. I think he's the better draft value than Zeke. Next on my list is going to be Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. I was all about Javonte this offseason until Melvin Gordon signed. I think this disappointed a lot of people that wanted to draft Javonte because, look, Melvin Gordon's still going to get 40% of the work in this backfield. Last year, it was a split backfield, 50-50 down the middle, but Melvin Gordon still technically was the number one running back in the offense from a volume standpoint. This year, Javonte is going to be the guy, obviously, but Melvin Gordon's going to be a pest. He's going to cut into his workload significantly. And Melvin Gordon's by far the better draft value. I hate to burst you guys' bubble, but I know how good Javonte Williams is. We saw how explosive he is, how good he can be when he gets to head the backfield. But Melvin Gordon is going to be eating into his workload significantly. Melvin Gordon is still going to be used heavily in this offense. And because of this, and because of the fact that Melvin Gordon is also going to get heavy goal line usage, they'll use Melvin Gordon as a goal line back. He's going to cut into Javonte Williams' touchdown upside. He's going to cut into his overall yardage totals. So I really don't like investing a third-round pick in Javonte Williams when he's splitting a backfield with Melvin Gordon. I would rather just wait and draft Melvin Gordon later in the draft, as Melvin Gordon is the better value. Next on my list is going to be Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Now, in this particular case, I much prefer the starter, Aaron Jones. We saw in the games where Davante Adams didn't play in Aaron Jones' career, Aaron Jones was by far and away the best running back in fantasy. This is because his overall amount of passes that he sees in the red zone go up significantly when Davante Adams doesn't play because Davante Adams was siphoning all of Aaron Jones' red zone targets when he played. And also Aaron Jones is going to receive more rushing in the red zone because this team is going to run the ball more because they don't really necessarily trust their wide receivers nearly as much as they could ever trust Davante Adams, obviously, because he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. So they're going to lean on the run more. They're going to lean on passing the ball to Aaron Jones more. So Aaron Jones' PPR numbers are going to be up significantly. His touchdown numbers are going to fly through the roof. He is going to get the majority of the goal line work in this offense. Now, there has been some debate this offseason. There's been people saying, hey, A.J. Dillon is going to start to cut into Aaron Jones' goal line work. Look, Aaron Jones is still going to get 80% of the goal line work in this offense, and this is an offense that is going to score a lot of points. So that means lots of scoring opportunities for Aaron Jones. He's going to catch a sick amount of passes. This will be one of the most volume-heavy pass-catching backs in the entire league. The one game where Davante Adams didn't play last year, that was the one game where Aaron Jones saw double-digit targets. That was against the Arizona Cardinals. He had 11 targets in that game. Point is, he's going to see a ton of passing work, and he's probably going to receive plenty of weeks where he has 10-plus targets out of the backfield. This is going to produce ridiculous PPR numbers for Aaron Jones, and I love him in the third round this year. I've already taken him in a few of my drafts, and I know that he's going to be a league-winning player for me. As far as the backup, A.J. Dillon, I like A.J. Dillon, especially considering the fact that he's going in like the 10th, 11th round. I mean, he's definitely a great handcuff to have in case Aaron Jones gets hurt, and he's already going to give you flex value to start the season. I mean, Aaron Jones is going to get all the goal line work. He's going to get all the passing work. That's why he's by far a better back for PPR. But A.J. Dillon is going to be getting 40% of the carries in this backfield, maybe even 45%. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 50-50 split as far as these guys' carries. I honestly think that a 50-50 split is very possible, but the point is Aaron Jones is going to get all the high-value touches. So I would grab Aaron Jones. I think he's the more valuable back, but if you draft Aaron Jones, it's totally fine to take A.J. Dillon as a handcuff. In fact, I think that if you're going to draft Aaron Jones, the best strategy is to just go ahead and draft A.J. Dillon as well. Next on my list is going to be Ramondre Stevenson and Damien Harris. Now, I've been saying it all offseason. Ramondre Stevenson might be the most undervalued player in the draft, definitely up there. He's a top 5 undervalued player. His ADP has skyrocketed since I was making those videos talking about his value. He's pretty much being valued ahead of Damien Harris at this point. We know that he's the more talented back. He's probably going to run the ball for more efficiency. He is the pass-catching back. He's going to see all the PPR upside. It's going to be a 50-50 split as far as carries. The only reason that Damien Harris has been valued higher for the majority of the offseason is because we know that Damien Harris is going to receive the majority of the goal line work. But considering the fact that Ramondre Stevenson is a way more talented back, I think that they're going to start to lean on him more when they're in goal-to-goal opportunities. And I think that the myth that Damien Harris is going to get all the goal line usage is going to fly out the window pretty quickly, as we see that Ramondre Stevenson is going to get more than his fair share of goal line work as well, meaning that everything is going for Ramondre Stevenson. Big play ability, talent, rushing efficiency, scoring upside, a coach that's going to use the best player in the right, most pivotal situations, he has everything going for him. And, he's being taken right around when Damien Harris is being taken in the draft. I would go ahead and just draft Ramondre Stevenson ahead of Damien Harris at this point. Their ADP they're pretty much right on top of each other, but I think Ramondre Stevenson is the go-to back. Last backfield here on my list is going to be Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Now, this is the most explosive backfield in the entire NFL by a long shot, and I'm just going to come out and say that Kareem Hunt's the better value like he is every year. Now, I will say this. Nick Chubb slipping to the back end of the third round or the early third round is huge for me. I never liked drafting him in the first round like he was going a few years ago because, he's part of a platoon split backfield, and the running back behind him takes all his PPR upside. He takes a lot of his scoring opportunities. For this reason, I never liked taking Nick Chubb in the first round, but considering the fact that he might be the best pure runner in the league, running behind an incredible offensive line, and he's going to get you great yardage totals, touchdown upside, everything like that, I like him in the third round. So, you can go ahead and draft Nick Chubb. But still, even with this being the case, Kareem Hunt remains the better value in the draft like he is every single year because, he's going to come in and take a lot of Nick Chubb's goal line work. He's going to get tons of scoring opportunities. He's going to eat up all the passes out of the backfield and dominate for PPR formats. It usually only takes until about week 5, guys, and Kareem Hunt starts being ranked ahead of Nick Chubb in weekly PPR rankings, and he's taken like 50 spots later in the draft. It makes absolutely no sense. Also keep in mind that Kareem Hunt operates in this, he plays in the second half. The majority of his touches that he's getting are in the second half of games, and there are more points scored in the second half of games. So this is also very beneficial for his fantasy outlook. So if you want to draft Nick Chubb in the early rounds, I don't blame you. He's going to get some awesome yardage totals for you, and he has some pretty decent scoring upside as well. But I still think that Kareem Hunt is the better value, and what I'm going to be doing in most of my drafts is fading Nick Chubb early and just grabbing Kareem Hunt because he is by far and away, like he is every single season, the better value in the draft. All right, guys, those are the most relevant fantasy split backfields. I just wanted to give you some clarity on how I value the players. So I appreciate you tuning into the video, and I will catch you later.